It's fine. Stand up, I get up. I'm feeling shona focus. Come on, people, get up. Shona gonna stay focused. Opportunities, gotta get this, gotta fight this
Oscar bona rephela khale re sokola re phelela mshumo ke re ke mosimana ga le somo mweketsi dumelang and salute to all my hustlers bafethu aka Mekmilele Shumo ngithi kule hora elandelayo bafethu zabe sinisela ingqondo zenu bafethu ngolwazi khona sizokhula njengehlahla esinesimilo esikahle samba lentokazi bafethu unokukhanya intokazi yakhe wona lapha ke kaMahlango bafethu endlondlobalisa exercise lakhe khona lapha ke ku conservation science. Isibonile sihle empilweni yakhe kodwa kugogo wakhe bafethu ngendlela kade ayenza izinto ngayo ngisho nayo ke imiyalo yakhe iyona ke izinto eziyamenza ukuthi avule amehlo abone ke amandla akhona kumvelo bafethu kodwa namhlanje ke ulapha ke South African Biodiversity Institute bafethu oyibona ke abantu abaphethe exercise lakhe ezandleni zakhe bafethu njengoba ke intokazi ifuna ukubasebenzela kaze iyohamba kanjani mina ngithi impepho sengishisile emsamo ukususa imoya emibi ngikuvula indlela enhle bafethu nokukhanya.
Emndenini wasekhaya ngimdala enganeni eziyi5 nginabo sisi abayi2 abancane nabo bhuti abayi2 abancane abangamawele ngihlala nomama nobaba. Khathi sisami omncane ezalwa ngangina 7 ngangijabulile kakhulu ukuthi sekunomuntu ingane ekhaya engizodlala naye ngangijabulile nje kakhulu ngiyakhumbula ukuthi ngangesikoleni khathi ngabuya umama esenomntwana kwakumnandi mase ngiyenza ugrade 4 umama benobaba bakhetha ukuthi ngihambe ngiyefunda boarding school yayisememela.
Ngithathe uNozipho ngamusa boarding school ngokuthi bengibona ama challenges engibhekene nawo mina efamilini ngokuthi ngalesikhathi leso bengumuntu ongasebenzi umsebenzi ungelula ukuthi utholakale endaweni ebengikuyona ngenzela ukuthi uma ngabe ngimuva ekhaya ngiya lapha ngiyosebenza khona ebe ehlele endaweni esafe.
Azange kusheshe kujwayeleke ngiyakhumbula ukuthi ebusuku vele mangisafika ngangikhala kodwa uma kuhamba isikhathi ngajwayela kwakumnandi ukuhlala nezinye izingane. Mangifika lapho ngangina 7 ngiyofunda ugrade 4 mangifika bangitshela ukuthi ngimncane kakhulu for igrade le engangizoyenza bangijikisa bangibisela ka grade 2 ngangaphathekanga kahle ngoba ngangijabulile ukuthi ngangiphambili kunezinye izingane futhi ngase ngifuna ukuphuma kuleso sikolo ngiyakhumbula ukuthi ngangikhala kakhulu ngicomplaina kubazali bami ngangafuna ukubuyela emuva. Umatric ngawuphasa ngo2009 ngathola ama distinctions i4 ngangazi vele ukuthi sengifuna ukuyenza into ene biochemistry kahle into bengifuna ukuyenza biochemistry and then ngeza ke ngaya eGoli.
Bawunozipheza ngapha eGoli ngangithe ukwethuka ngoba iGoli nje nami ngiyimi ngangalijwayela so ukuthatha ke umntwana owayese less than 20 years uyombeka eGoli ngoba ngeshwa akazange ayithole indawo ngaphakathi boarding indawo kuhlala ngaphakathi samtholela indawo ngaphandle ke though kukhona eduzane kweuniversity kodwa lwalukhona lelo valo.
Ngafunda i-Bachelor of Science degree nga-majorisha in Biochemistry and Zoology khathi ngiqala kodwa makhamba unyaka ngabona ukuthi i-zoology bengasangichazi kahle but then I fell in love with botany ekade it was just an added module. It wasn't a prerequisite. And then I decided at the end of the year, and then I changed degree by biochemistry and botany. First year yami beyinzima kakhulu. Uma qala unyaka uyabona ukuthi okay you only registered for ama modules i4. Ucabanga ukuthi hayi umsebenzi omncane vele. Kodwa musubona umsebenzi niyenzayo eklasini uthola ukuthi so mina ubunzima engahlangana nabo ukuthi ngangihluleka ukubalansisa wonke ama subjects ami ngibona ukuthi ngangifocusa kakhulu kulawe engangathanda ngangenza ama modules i4 kwakuyi biology ngiyenza i chemistry ngiyenza i physics ngiyenza i maths.
uNozipho ngesikhathi enza unyaka wakhe wokuqala e-UG wangifonela engazisa ukuthi i-physical science iyamhlupha, ingahle yenze ukuthi angayitholi i-degree yakhe ngesikhathi asifisayo. Wayesethi ucela ukuyi-deregister uzoyenza uma ngabe senza i-final year.
Ngo-2012 kwakufanele uNozipho agraduate kodwa azange kwenzeke ngoba kwakumele ukuthi abuye ngo-2013 azowenza i-physics again. Akungiphathanga kabi lokho. Ngani ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi-ke isikolo singasiqala kanye sonke but asiqedi kanye.
Yo, I felt like a failure kahle. Bengifila ngathi bengidlala esikolweni ngoba uyababona abanye abantwana ukuthi okay fine. Abanye ngangena nabo ngo-2010 they graduated in record time. Mina yini le bengistopha yabo. So yeah, ngangiphatheke kabi. I was disappointed with myself. Kodwa I just needed to ngisebenze, ngiphase nami ngizofana nabo. So ngabuyela ke esikoleni ngaqeda ngagraduate ngo-October 2013. I-plan yami was I was hoping to get a job. I thought it was that easy. So khathi ngibuyele ekhaya ngangibusy ngihlale ngi-apply every day ngilindele nje ukuthi ngizothola umsebenzi very soon. Umama wabona ukuthi angeke uzuhlale unyaka wonke futhi olandelayo, so kungcono uhambe esikoleni uyoyenza honors. Ngangafuni kahle because ngangicabanga ukuthi okay if I wait ngizothola umsebenzi eventually, but ngayibona into umama yeyisho and then ngabhalisa and registered e-UJ ngabuyela ngayenza honors. So ngo-September khathi ngisayenza honors yami ngabona i-advert kwi-SANBI website befuna i-botanist intern e-Walter Sisulu National Botanical Gardens. Nga-applya, bangibiza for an interview, and then 2 weeks just before I finished my honors year, bangifonela bangitshela ukuthi bengi-successful and bafuna ukuthi ngiqale. Khathi ngenza i-internship yami, sasi-under i-Sebenza, ne? Internship ka-SANBI, and then mase kuzophela unyaka ba-advertise e-SANBI for ama-extensions of that contract. Nga-applya, and then I was successful in 2 places. Lapho engangihlele khona e-Walter Sisulu nala e-Pretoria National Botanical Gardens, and kwakumele ngikhethe-ke manje ukuthi ngizosala le eGoli noma ngizokhetha la e-Pretoria. Ngagcina ngikhethile ukuthi ngimove e-Pretoria ngizofunda izinto ezintsha. I-internship yami isizophela, so kusasa ngine-interview e-SANBI la e-Pretoria National Botanical Garden for i-position ye-research assistant. Ngifisa ukuthi ulanga lakhe libe lihle kakhulu, sengathi angaphumelela kulo msebenzi azoya kwi-interview yawo.
Uzoyimisela akusho konke afisa ukukusho kwi-interview ukuze nalabo bantu azobe emi phambi kwabo bezobona ukuthi lo mntwana lo uyayifisa lento ayifisayo.
So if ngithola lo msebenzi kuchaza ukuthi ngikhandela a name in my industry, and then ukuthi I'm building up to something kwi career yami.
sister, iSpani.
Ngiceda kufika SANBI for my interview. Ngithukile kakhulu, but I'm also very excited and I hope for the best.
Welcome, Nokukhanya. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And yourself?
I'm good. Nokukhanya will be interviewing for the position of research assistant for the scientific authority. Okay? Please relax. All right. Nokukhanya, can you please tell us about yourself and why did you decide to study an honors in botany and plant biotechnology?
I hold a BSc honors degree in botany and plant biotechnology from the University of Johannesburg. I've been working with SANBI for the past 2 years as an intern, where I've learned valuable skills such as conducting botanical research. I've learned technical skills such as the use of GIS software, and I've also within these 2 years improved my scientific writing skills. I'm a hardworking, results-driven individual, and I say this because whenever I take on a task, I always envision the end result, which I always anticipate to be the best possible result. I'm also a very dedicated person in that I'm always willing to walk the extra mile to reach success. I studied botany because of my love for nature, and also because I'd like to take an active role in the conservation of our rich biodiversity, and also ensure that future generations also get to experience the beauty that is South Africa.
Okay, thank you very much for that information, Nokukhanya.
Okay.
We are using a targeted selection method of interview here at SANBI. So basically, when we ask you a question, your response, you should give us the situation or the task, and then what did you do in that particular situation? That would be your action.
Okay.
And then what was the end result?
Okay.
Or did you get that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Can you tell us about a time when you were facing conflicting priorities or responsibilities? How did you determine the top priority?
Okay, I'd like to use an example in my current internship.
Okay.
So in the beginning of this year, I was tasked with a very big task that entailed a lot of work, and it also required internet resources, so it was something that I couldn't exactly take home. When I saw the amount of work that needed to go into this task, I actually was overwhelmed and I panicked, and I started only focusing on that one big task, and I noticed that I was sidelining a lot of my other smaller but equally important tasks. So an action that I took was that I went back and I had a look at my work plan, and I looked at all the tasks that also needed my attention, and I'd also check the deadlines for these tasks, and then I'd prioritize my time according to the tasks that I needed to do. And I also just needed to divide my day into different parts, and then I'd focus on different parts on the different assignments on the different parts of the day.
Okay.
So the end result for that was that I was able to keep up to date with the one big task while also not neglecting my other smaller tasks, and I was able to reach my deadlines for all those tasks. Yes.
Okay, no, thank you very much.
Tell me about a task you had that required high attention to detail. And how satisfied or dissatisfied were you with that?
So during my internship, I've also had to do a bit of georeferencing work, where I work with a lot of coordinates. And this particular task needs one to be very focused to avoid doing any mistakes, because just adding a negative in front of a coordinate would just take you to a location that is far off, or not adding a negative sign in front of a coordinate would also cause the same problem. So I have to be very focused when I'm doing that task. What is dissatisfying about that task is that it's a lot of repetitive work, but that is also good, because the more you do something, the better you become at it, the more you improve, and you can easily pick up mistakes when you're doing something on a daily basis.
The two pieces of legislation that we particularly deal with are the Threatened or Protected Species Regulations, which have been promulgated in terms of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act, and that's essentially about protecting species from unsustainable utilization. Okay.
Thank you, Michelle. Nokukhanya, we are having 3 tasks that you need to do for today as part of this interview. And Michelle will be your mentor for today. Are you ready for that?
Yes, I am.
Good luck for today. We'll see you later.
Okay.
Nokukhanya o ithekisitse hantle haholo. O ya itseba ene o na le utlwisiso e tibileng ka mosebetsi wa hae. Maikemisetso a o sebetsa ka thata le bohlokwa ba ho bana le ponelopele. Ha ekaba o na le lerato la hlaho le go sebeletsa ka ntle, o na le di-options tse pedi. Option ya pele kore o be botanist. Re na le hlokahalo e kgolo ya di-botanist tse kwetlisitsweng. Bona he ba sebetsa ko gardening, ba ithutela ka dijalwa le dipalesa le patlisiso ya tsona. Option ya hao ya bobedi ko ba conservation scientist. Bona he ba shebile tlhokomelo le tlhatlholo ya di-natural resources. Ba sebedisana le mmuso go tlhokomela lefatshe, mmu le metsi. Ho di-options tseo tse pedi o tlhoka degree ya BSc. Mahaslase, ha ekaba hona le ntho e o e batlang e sokang o e fumana, ikemisetse go etsa ntho o sokang o e etsa. Ho go bua ho nka tsela e telele ya dithuto le ho inehela.
My name is Michelle Farb, and I've been working in conservation since 1997. I started off working at the Gauteng Directorate of Nature Conservation, and 8 years ago I joined the South African National Biodiversity Institute as the scientific coordinator for the Scientific Authority. It's always been my passion to work in conservation. I used to watch wildlife films as a child and decided that that's what I wanted to do, was save the planet for future generations. And now I'm very, very happy with my employment here and very grateful for the opportunity, and especially in teaching young people this beautiful field that I'm working in. Okay, so Nokukhanya, we are at one of the collection houses at the Pretoria National Botanical Garden, and what I'd like you to do here is to look at a group of plants and assess whether it complies with the definition of artificially propagated in terms of CITES set out. Okay, and that would be your task 1.
Njengentsha yasemzansi bafethu, sabantu ke abakholela emasikweni wabo fethu entweni zesintu. Uyabona mawugula nje awusabi nje ukuthi uyilaphe nje, uyokha nje isihlahla laphana wenze umuthi nje. Ngecambe nje elilodwa lesihlahla mfethu ungihamba laphana ke uyogabha mfethu, ugqume ngisho upeyide. Uma ungangikhola shona ngalaphana ngase Durban bafethu, khona laphana ka Mai uyabona ke inhlobo ezihlukile zemithi bafethu ezenzwe ke ngezihlahla zakumvelo. Kodwa ke ake sikhumbule ukuthi ake singasebenzisi ke ngehaba bafethu. Lezi zihlahla ke zidinga ke ukuvikelwa. Umsebenzi ke owenza intokazi yethu bafethu yena ke uNokukhanya njengoba ke alwa nobukhonyovu ukucada nya ngabantu ke abatshontsha izihlahla. But before that akekho umuntu ozonivikela njengoba ke nginishaya ngewejumble lethu yakule viki. Nginikeze ke amaletha amabini bafethu, which are your letters O and Y. Thumela ke impendulo khona lapha ku Twitter na ku Facebook ngokukhulu ukusheshsha. Kodwa ke asambe sibone intokazi lapha ku nursery bafethu, la ke babheka ke noma ke batshala izihlahla ke esebungozini bafethu kuze zishabalale. Nami ke awuthi ngishabalale emahlweni wenu uzonibona manibuya.
Okay, so Nokukhanya, this is task 1.
Okay.
We've selected these plants for you to assess in terms of the criteria, the CITES criteria for artificially propagated.
Okay.
And Mtumi here is responsible for looking after these plants and these facilities here, and you're welcome to interact with him in gathering the data you need to complete this task. So please go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Matume.
Hello.
So I've been given this task where I have to check whether the plants you are growing in this nursery fit according to the CITES definition of artificially propagated. So I also have just a few questions that I need you to answer that's going to help me with this assessment.
Okay.
So could you please tell me which species this is?
Okay, this Euphorbia clivicola.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to establish where you got your parental stock from. Was it grown from wild seed, harvested without a permit? Grown from wild seed, harvested under a permit, or was it grown from wild seed, from seed cultivated off-site?
The species was collected, propagated from seeds. Then we also need to have a permit for that. So before we collect the seeds, we make sure that we have permit to collect them.
Okay, into ebalulekile ngokuyenza ama-nursery audits is that into engiyifundile ukuthi abantu certain nursery owners batshontsha ama-plants from the wild and then let's say in the nursery environment and then they sell them off as artificially propagated kanti batshontsha from the wild, which is it's not good for the species ngoba a lot of them are threatened, and if they continue doing such things then ama-species lawa azoba extinct in the wild. I'd like to just ask one more thing. I see that your plants have what looks like animal damage. Could you please explain to me what happened here?
No, basically this is not an animal damage.
Okay.
We're housed in another house nearby. In that house, the temperature is too high. So that's why I decided to move them from that house to this one. So here you can say they started to suffer. So that's why I moved them into this one.
So it's not damaged by any animal?
No, it's not damaged by any animal.
No, thank you very much, Madumi, for your time.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, the next part I'm just going to be doing by myself.
All right.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so a researcher is somebody who goes out and investigates some sort of problem that is being faced by society or a research problem, and goes and designs an experiment and collects data and then goes back into the laboratory or goes and uses a computer to analyze that data and answers a specific question, and then that can be published in the peer-reviewed literature for other researchers to look at, and so that we can all learn from that investigation, and that's how science moves forward.
First time ngisebenza e-nursery bekungekho lula, bekunama-challenges ngokuthi abantu abafuna ukukhuluma iqiniso, especially laba vele who are guilty of stealing from the wild. So yeah, bekunalawo ma-challenges ukuthi abantu abafuna ukukhuluma iqiniso, but yeah.
So we do have a nursery that grows and propagates plants. And that's just for collection purposes. So the idea is that we represent plants in an ex situ collection. So for example, the cycad collection we have here and at other botanical gardens in South Africa represents all the species that are growing in South Africa. So it's an ex situ collection, an ex situ gene bank of those species.
Okay, Michelle, so now I'm just gonna take measurements of the plants so that I can at a later stage analyze the results and verify whether they are indeed the same size or if they differ in size.
All right.
Okay. So I'm just going to be taking the width of the plants in this direction and then again in that direction, and I'll use a formula to determine the size of the plant.
All right.
Okay.
Nokukhanya did task one very well. She was able to interview the person who was looking after the plants in a very professional manner and record everything he told her into her data sheet, and then was able to pull all that information together to conclude that the glass house or the greenhouse that we were in complied with the CITES definition of under controlled conditions. And then she was also very ably able to look at the plants and look for signs of wild collection and measure the plants, and again record the data which she can analyze later in her office. Okay, very well done, Nokukhanya. That you were clearly very well prepared for that. You obviously went back and studied CITES before you went for this interview, because you knew exactly what artificially propagated means. And I'm very impressed with how you tackled that task, so very well done.
Thank you, Michelle.
Now we're going to go to your second task, task 2. All right, let's go.
Nokukhanya o supile utlwisiso ya science ya dijala le lerato la se a se etsang le a iponahatsa. Ho kena lekaleng lena sa pele o hloka tjhesahallo ya lerato la mosebetsi, senior certificate e tla go dumellang hore o etse yona diploma kapa degree. Mahaslase, tjhesahallo ya lerato la mosebetsi ke yona phapang mahara ha go bana le mosebetsi fela le go bana le career. Yetsa selo se o se ratang o dumele go sona, se tla iphethahatsa. Tasking e latelang, Nokukhanya o bapanya bokgoni ba hae ba technology le ba lab.
So Nokukhanya, we are now in the cycad garden at the Pretoria National Botanical Garden. So your task 2 will involve taking this app and testing it on one of the plants here and basically seeing how well it does in identifying the plant that we choose. Okay, so here you go and we can go and look at the plant.
Okay, thank you.
Right, over there. Okay, so Nokukhanya, here we are going to test SANBI's cycad identification app on this plant here.
Yes.
You can see that it's been labeled with a particular name Encephalatus lamanii. And now you're going to use this app that SANBI has developed to determine if it comes up with the correct identification. Okay.
Okay. Let me just switch this on. Turn it the other way around. Okay, so I'm going to be using the app. So the first question basically that it's asking me is to check whether there is a mid-vein that is present or whether it's absent.
Okay.
And because this is a cycad, it's going to be absent.
Because it's an indigenous species.
Yes. So, okay, mid-vein is absent. Okay, i-app again tata isikhashanyana ukuthi ngijwayele, and that is because angaze ngisebenzise before, but there were pictures on the app which helped me to see exactly what I was working with, what I was looking for, and also ama terms begulula because I knew exactly what the terms meant because it's something that I had covered before in university.
So the cycads, which we did see today, can be hundreds of years old, okay, because they're extremely slow growing, and in the wild they exist in the wild for hundreds of years, and well, I mean, they don't really need to be taken care of, just left where they are in the wild to grow in nature. Next question.
The next option that I have is the shape of the leaf. It's got incurved, which looks like this, straight, which looks like this, arcing, tip not curled under, arcing with the tip curled under, and then spiral. And I think it's arcing.
And what is the tip doing?
It's not curling under, so I'm going to select this one. I've still got 13 that are remaining. And now it's asking about the density of the leaves. Is it very dense, is it medium, or is it open? And I'd say it's very dense.
Okay.
Okay, very dense. I've now got 12 species remaining. So now I'm going to move on to the leaf length. They ask, is it short, is it medium, or is it long?
So what's the difference between this and these?
This is the whole leaf, and these are just leaflets within the leaf. Okay, so now the leaf length, I'd say this plant is medium, and the measurements that they give here is between 0.75 meters to 1.8 meters. So I'm going to select that one. Biodiversity ibalulekile because I think every species esikhona emhlabeni depends on the other to survive or for whatever reason. And I think yonke into ekhona emhlabeni has its own importance, even though kungabonakali kithina singabantu. But I think there's a reason that each and every species has been put on this earth. They are asking about the leaflet width. Is it very narrow? Is it narrow? Is it medium? Or is it wide? I think it should be, it's not too narrow, but it's still very narrow. So I'm gonna select narrow between 8 and 25 millimeters.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
The next thing they're asking me about is the margin or the edge. Is it entire? Is it dentate? Or is it lobed? And I think it's very smooth. So I'm gonna go for entire.
All right.
Select that. It's still 5 remaining. And now they're asking if there is a prominent raised lip that is present on the upper margin of the underside of the leaflet. So just gonna check under here to check for the prominent raised lip, and there doesn't appear to be any. I can't feel any, so I guess it's absent. The app basically simplifies everything, because without the use of the app, I would have to rely on a book where you have to go and look. So if you select a certain characteristic, such as the color of the leaflets, then it would give you another option and you have to page through. It's like a key basically, and it's very thick because it has to have all the characteristics of all the indigenous cycads. And now I've got 1 species remaining, so I'm just gonna check if it is what I'm seeing here. So Encephalatus leymani.
So how did the app fare on that? Did it identify the correct species? Is it matching
yeah,
the label there?
It is matching the label. It's the same species basically. So I was able to narrow down from that 45 until I got to this correct identification.
Excellent, very well done, Nokukhanya. I think she did very well in task 2. She was able to examine the plants in detail, and she was able to understand all the terminology and the features on the app, and look for what she was looking for in the plant and select the right features, and she did tremendously well because she keyed it out and came to the right species in the end. Okay, so Nokukhanya, you did that task very well. Well done.
Thank you,
you really paid attention to all the features and you thoroughly went through each feature. So I'm really impressed with that. And that's the end of task 2. And let's now go and tackle task 3.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Ka nnete re phela lefatsheng la technology. Nokukhanya o kgona ho nka tsebo ya hae ya science a ikopanya le technology ho thabisa mentor wa hae. Bahiri ba lefapha lena ke mekgatlo ya government. O ka sebetsa ko di-national parks, botanical gardens, environmental affairs, agriculture le tse ding tse ngata. Nature Conservation South Africa ina le di-bursary, environmental affairs le yona ina le menyetla. Mahaslas ke nako ya hore o tlogele ho jwetsa batho ditoro tsa hao o ba bontshe. Go tasking ya o qetela Nokthula o shebile tsa dithekiso.
Okay, so Nokukhanya, now we're going to do your 3rd and final task. So what we need to do is find out which genera of plants are particularly popular for enthusiasts overseas or in South Africa. And then what we're going to do is use that information to block the locality information for those particular genera.
Vumani bo siyavuma ukuthi ke uNokukhanya bafethu wenza umsebenzi onqomekayo ngempela. Thina abantu esingamfanisa nabo esibajwayele bafethu izona ke izangoma bafethu odokotela besintu. Kuthi ntokazi ke ifuna ukuba i-research assistant khona lapha ke ehlangothini le-conservation science bafethu e-South African Biodiversity Institute. Ngaphambi simdedele ukuthi aqhubele phambili ngomsebenzi nami uthi ngenze so ngiphonsa amathambo wami bafethu nginikeza ithuba lokuthi niphule ukuthi eliphi legama esifunayo laphana ku-word jumble bese nginikezile amahlu amabini awuthi nginikeza another letter which is the letter N. Masibuya emva kwekhefu bafethu ngithi sifunda okusha uthi ubuwazi ukuthi khona abantu abadayisa imithi ngaphandle komthetho bafethu ngoba ke abanalo iphepha elibanikeza imvume bafethu negunya lokuthi bahambe bayokha ihlahla ezithize engakanani endaweni ethize bafethu ubuwazi bungazi. So make sure that you catch us on the other side of the break bafethu to be on the right side of the law. Ungasolo sokha ihlahla ezi wrong so uyaboshwa bakuhlabe ngozankosi. Ngiyakhuza njalo.
All right, Nokukhanya, so now we come to your third and final task, which involves some computer work and some searching on the internet. And what I'd like you to do is, we've given you a list of species, of genera there, and we'd like to, for you to find out or to determine how popular they are in the online trade. All right. Okay. So as you're going through the task, you can explain to me exactly what you're doing and how you're approaching the task.
So what I'm going to do here is I'll take, I'm just going to copy this.
What are you copying there?
I'm copying the genus name. I'm going to copy it onto Google. I'm going to add exclamation marks around it to make sure that my search focuses on this genus. I'm going to add plants because we are searching for plant adverts, and I'm just going to add sale.
Right.
And then I'm going to do a search. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to record the number of hits that I received onto the spreadsheet that I have been given. Okay, here we go.
And that's how many?
It's 76,300. So number of hits is how many results you obtained from that one particular search. So Kazubuti, if the number of hits was 4.4 million, it means like if you had to go through all the results on Google, you would go through 4.4 million pages. Task 3, ibalulekile in a sense that it's important to know which species are being highly requested on the internet. So like Michelle said, there are websites where people are obtaining information and they can go and steal the plants from the wild. So if we understand the trends in the demand of these species, then maybe we can find ways to stop the poaching before it happens. So this is the last result that I'm looking at. Just gonna search for Howard. So
there you
here's
go.
the list of all the Howard.
That's quite an extensive list, isn't it?
It is. For the different species. Okay. So yes.
Okay, so what result there have you? Okay, that's for sale.
Yes, it's for sale. So now I'm gonna look at the buy aspect. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to change the sale to buy, and I'm going to do the same, which is to copy the number of hits that I received.
So it's very difficult to determine if plants that are advertised on the internet are illegal or not. Okay, because the plants aren't there to inspect, there's nobody to interview, there's no permit to look for. The internet will just tell us how people are trading online. Okay, we'd be very concerned if they were trading in a species that was, for example, critically endangered, that came from only one locality in South Africa, which means somebody would have been able to go and access that locality in the wild, and now they're trading it online. So we'd be very concerned if there was something that was that threatened that was being traded on the internet.
At the end of this all, I'm going to analyze the results that I got, and just be able to tell which of the genus that you gave me are in high demand on the internet market. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same here as well. Before SANBI, I was aware ukuthi khona the illegal activities that go on, because we learned about legislation that protects some plants. So obviously something illegal has to be going on for a species to be protected. But uma sengifika ke eSANBI, that's when I really had an in-depth understanding of what is going on in South Africa and on an international scale, the trade in threatened species basically.
So mathematics is a very, very important part of any scientist's job, because obviously you're working with numbers and data, and you need to know how to use a spreadsheet very well and do calculations in the spreadsheet, analyze the data, statistics, and draw graphs and figures. So yes, mathematics is very important for being a scientist in this field.
So Michelle, what I've done here is that I've gone and looked at my results and I've analyzed it and I've sorted it from those genera that were in high demand on the internet. So I've used 5 different colors just to color code everything nicely. So the ones at the top that are in red are in very high demand on the market, whereas the ones here at the bottom are not really a concern.
So which species, which genera then have come up as in high demand over the
So
internet?
the 2 genera on this list that came out as being in high demand are the Haworthia and the Clevias, whereas these ones here at the bottom, nobody's really looking to buy or selling any.
Okay, all right. And these here are also quite high, and the ones that you put in orange?
In orange.
What genera are those?
So here in orange we've got the Albuca and the Osteospermum.
Okay, well, very well done. And that was a lot of work, a lot of going through the internet, hard slog, looking at every one of the websites, and you did it very meticulously. I'm very impressed. Okay. Well done on task 3.
Nokukhanya, welcome back.
Thank you, William.
How did the task go?
They went very well.
Went very well.
Yes.
So you were able to execute most of them?
Yes, I was able to tackle them.
Okay. Did there were any challenges with the task?
I had a few challenges with the SciCAD app, but I managed to figure it out.
But on overall, how was the task?
Overall, it was a very good day, a very interesting day, and I enjoyed the task that I did.
Okay, Michelle has briefed me about the task that we're doing on the other side, and she gave me quite positive feedback about the task. Okay. Before we give you any feedback, do you have any questions that you'd like to pose to us?
So Michelle spoke about furthering my studies when we were doing the first interview. So I just wanted to find out if SANBI assists their employees with furthering their studies.
Yes, SANBI does assist their employees with furthering their studies, but only if you are employed on a permanent basis, that's when they can assist you if you want to further studies. Okay. You first need to serve your probation, then after your probation, that's when we can be able to assist you to further studies.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's
All right. We have taken a decision, me and Michelle, after a thorough discussion about your interview and the task that you undertook on the other side. And we are happy to offer you the position of a scientific research authority.
Okay, thank you very much, William. I'm very excited, and I hope I will do well in this position.
Thank you, Nokukhanya. Our HR team will prepare the necessary documentation and the other processes that we still need to do in HR. As soon as we are done with that, we'll contact you and then we'll be able to come and sign the contract.
Okay, thank you, William.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so ngiceda kuphuma SANBI and ngitholile umsebenzi. What this means to me is that I will now be able to afford furthering my studies, and I'm very happy about that. To all the hustlers out there, pressa, pusha, panda.
Well done, Nokukhanya. Re bone ka wena hore kaofela ha rona re entse ra bopela mosebetsi o itseng ene takatso ya seo e ka hare ha dipelo tsa rona. Potso ya rona ya beke ena e tswa go Thandeka. A re yena o na le kgatlego ya go ba auditor. Di-auditor ke batho ba e leng gore ba sheba gore di-company di sebetsa ka tsela e tshwanetseng, ba patala di-tax go ya ka go nepahetseng ene hape le ka nako. Ba investigate di-financial records tsa di-company ha ba qeta ba ba nee di-report. Wena o hloka senior certificate e tla o dumelang go etsa diploma kapa yona degree. Maths e compulsory. Di-subjects tse ka o thusang ke accounting kapa yona economics. E kopanye le ba Institute of Internal Auditors ho fumana go ngata. Ha e ka ba hona le go sa utlwang, hopola o checkela Facebook ya rona kapa le yona website. Ke emetse ya hao potso.
Awushanerapha ekelemende, meaning the awakening of uNokukhanya bafethu washa waphuqa ke amathasi kadanikeza wona nasingahlala sikhululeke bafethu sazi ukuthi imvelo nehlahla zakulelizo bafethu zivikelekile sezandleni ezikahle kuye ke uNokukhanya nabantu balaphana ke South African Biodiversity Institute. But what's with the attitude? Why ningibheka snacks akusime ngithe iwatchabulete kule viki bafethu ibenzima njengoba sesikhathi ukuthi nginikeze impendulo. Igama kade silifuna yi botany bafethu, imfundo ezenza usisi. Uma utholile ngithi uhlakaniphe kakhulu, uma ungatholanga better luck next time. Kodwa mina ke umfana kaMtambo dotsa zonke intambo sengiphuma kanje. Ngithi siqhumane khona lapha ke enkundleni zokuxhumana bafethu YouTube, and also remember to catch our repeats ngo-11 ngo-Thursday bafethu. Mina ngihlala ngitshela ngithi don't look down, look up and stay up, and always remember to kick, push and coast. See you next week.